So we a lot of hubbub and a lot of advice regarding having a birth plan. The very art of creating the plan itself can be very, very therapeutic. But that's just birth. What if I told you with this video, you create a pregnancy recovery plan? It doesn't matter if your pregnancy ended last week or your pregnancy ended 6 months ago, it is still not too late to develop a pregnancy recovery plan for what's left of your pregnancy recovery. So stay tuned, stick in, let's get going. I recommend that you watch this on a computer, or maybe watch this on your phone, and you can follow along with me as I build this project in Claude. So what we're going to do is a pregnancy recovery plan. That plan is going to leverage biometric data. These instructions will be specifically for how to access that WHOOP data, put it into a project in Claude. You might choose to use ChatGPT, custom GPT in ChatGPT. You might choose to do a gem in Gemini instead. I will be demonstrating how to do this in Claude. Having a pregnancy recovery plan that is informed by your biometric data. Not only will we be able to generate a plan by the end of this video, you will also be able to chat with that plan and ask certain questions when it comes to that plan. So stick in and let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here. What you see on your left is Claude, because I love me some Claude. And then what you see here on the right, screenshots that will help me guide you through. You will also have access to are the exact prompts that I used to build this project in Claude. And you can use this exact prompt or these exact prompts wherever you get your custom GPTs, your gems, or your projects. If you're going to use biometric data, we're going to need to have that exported onto your device in CSV form. It's kind of like it's like a spreadsheet, but they're comma separated values. So, and actually, we don't even have to look at the contents of those CSV files for us to actually use them. That's one of the exciting parts of it. So the data is there, and our project is going to read, interpret that data, and incorporate that data into the output, which is the actual plan that is catered to you. And of course, you're going to be able to chat with it. So step one, we're going to export WHOOP data here. So you go under account and settings, hit export WHOOP data. That's what it looks like. I have a dark theme on my phone. You might have a light theme, but you'll see the same icon and you will see the same text there. You click on export WHOOP data and you let it know what email address you want your CSVs to be sent to. Again, I recommend that you make sure that you enter in the email address that you have access to on the computer that you're going to use. It will be very difficult to do this on a phone. Once you export it to a requested email address on your computer, what's going to happen is it will give you a little blurb that says it can take up to 24 hours is what it says actually. My export took less than an hour. So, hey, so it might not take that long, but if you don't see it within 24 hours, check your junk mail, check your trash box and whatnot to make sure that it wasn't exported and ended up in your spam box. So next step here is this is the email that you're going to see. The email is going to be from WHOOP. So if you're searching the sender and you're like, I can't find this thing in my inbox, search for WHOOP, WHOOP in my case, right? And you're going to hit download your data. Once you download your data, it's going to send your data in a zip file, in zip form. You're going to want to locate the zip file, to open the zip file. You might not see an icon that looks like this. It depends on how you have your folder set up. A lot of times you'll have one that says details and icons and so on and so forth. Mine, I have extra large icons, but the important part is that you look here and you see where it says my Whoop data, and also it will have the date there. That's how you know that that is from Whoop and which set of data you're dealing with. Now, the next step would be to unzip that file, because you want to get to the point where that file is usable. If I were to try to take this zipped folder and incorporate it into my Claude project, it will not be received. Go into the folder, click export all, and you see down here, this is just where my downloads typically go. Your download space will be different, but you also get to specify where you want that CSV or those CSVs, the contents of that zipped folder, to go. I recommend, if you're new to this, I recommend when this comes up that you take a little screenshot of it. And then that way, if you're having difficulty locating those unzipped files later on, you can follow the yellow brick road and say, okay, it's under users, it's under Lori, it's under, you see what I mean? So at this point, we're unzipping the file and we're saving the contents of that zipped file in my case, downloads. In your case, it can be wherever you have set the destination. Now, this is where it gets fun. Woo! Oh yeah. All right. So now we're in Claude. Again, you might be following along in Chat GPT. You might be following along using Gemini. I'm using Claude for now. Up here, this right here is a side toggle bar. This right here is to start a new chat. You don't need that right now. This right here is your chat history. You don't need that right now. Right here, that beautiful icon. This is what you need. The one that looks like multiple folders. Okay. So you're going to open that. And as you can see here, I've already started this process. I've already created this project. But I've already created this project. This is what it's going to look like when you go back to retrieve it. I'm going to actually go into here and create a new project. I'm going to go to new project. Bam. At this point, I can name this project whatever I want. All right. So it's going to be called Lawrence Prego. Now, putting a description in this box right here is optional. It is not like this description area where it says, what are you trying to achieve? That is for whomever is going to access the project, whatever user is going to access the project. The project is not pulling from this description. And actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and use it. So this is the description that I used. So you saw what it was like when I did not use a description. And now I'm in the space where I actually get to create the project. This is where the magic happens, and it's really exciting. So just a little lay of the land as far as the anatomy of the project the project section. Up here, you will see the name of the project. Under that, you will see a small version of your description. And of course, if you hit show more, it will show the rest of the description. This right here is where I will start to chat. But if I were to start chatting right now in this project, it will not be informed of my biometric data, and it will not have any instructions. It will have no idea what I'm asking of it. It will have no context from which to draw its instructions and what it's supposed to do with the data and so on and so forth, right? So this right here, the beautiful, beautiful instruction section, this is the brain right here. This is the brain, the instructions and the files. Now the files, those that is where my CSV files are going to go. That is the data, the objective biometric data that that will be that will be used in context under the instructions that are right above it. The instructions literally are the instructions. The instructions are used to tell this project how, or Lawrence Prego, what it's going to do, the type of input to expect, the type of output I want at the end, and what it needs to use, what tools, what data, whatever it needs to use in order to achieve that output that I'm looking for. So let's get it started. So I'm going to start with the instructions first. You are all welcome to use the same instructions that I have here. These will be available to you in GitHub, and I will have the link available to you in one of the comments section. There's quite a bit in these instructions. I like to call them instructions, but this is basically a mega prompt. And in this prompt, it is saying what the core capabilities are. So we're level setting here. We're letting it know that we want to use WHOOP data, or my biometric data, for context in postpartum. I also have included response guidelines. And I love to offer my custom GPTs, my gems, or my Claude projects simple interactions or examples of the type of responses that I would like and the type of questions it would get. Key reminders, core capabilities, of course, analyze the WHOOP data. That's bare bones right there, and then provide wellness guidance. And then on the bottom, I'm sharing a little bit more about the context of the WHOOP data and how that WHOOP data is to be applied or seen in light of the pregnancy recovery space. And then, of course, there are response guidelines, so on and so forth. I mean, this is just a juicy prompt, a juicy set of instructions that has worked for me. Now, you don't have to use this at all. You can actually come in here and type in whatever you want, or you can use this prompt word for word, or you can take this prompt that's going to be available to you in GitHub and remix it and see how it changes your output. For example, you might want different response guidelines. You might want it to communicate to you in a different style. You might want it to kind of take a different type of role. You can do all of those things by addressing this prompt here. So anyway, I'm going to save the instructions. And again, this is the exact prompt that I used in here. Now that we have the instructions locked and loaded, it's time to add that juicy, beautiful WHOOP biometric data. I am on a PC, so I'm going to hold down Shift. I'm going to get cycles, recovery, sleep, workout. Open it up. Bam! They're in there. And believe it or not, we are officially ready to generate our pregnancy recovery plan. So please generate my plan. And I'm going to hit enter. And I'm going to just let it begin its journey of outputting this beautiful plan that is actually informed by my own unique personal and biometric data. Right now, and it's showing it to you in real time. Right now, it's literally showing you it's analyzing data. You can even open the caret to see exactly what data it's analyzing and how it's analyzing that data. This gets really, really excited. Now it's generated the plan. Now, again, this is exciting. It does have its limitations. It does have its limitations because we can also incorporate other context like our pregnancy outcome and whatnot. We can incorporate that context simply by chatting in here. But we also have another option for you. There we go. On this side, you're getting a little bit of a summary of this beautiful plan that is tailored to you. So over here, it talks about my sleep quality, my activity, my recovery patterns. Also, it shares key insights. It says, in this example, my 53% average recovery score and 87% yellow zone days indicate my body's actively healing and adapting. So it's not just giving me a cookie cutter answer where it's saying, oh yeah, your body's healing and adapting out of an assumption. It is pointing to the data the biometric data, to in reference to that output. I love that it goes on to offer the opportunity to provide additional context. It's asking for context like how many weeks or month postpartum are you? What type of birth did you have? Are you currently breastfeeding? What are your favorite types of workouts from those 53 sessions? Because according to this data, I did 53 exercise sessions. That was just for this example. Anyway, so, and then we can take a look at the plan itself. Hold on, let's go here. Boop. We can look at the plan itself. I'm just going to scroll through and just highlight a few things that I notice. So, my recovery profile, daily decision framework. How useful would that be? Weekly wellness structure, sleep optimization strategy. So, not only is this a robust recovery plan, but it itemizes the domains of recovery that it can speak to by from leveraging that Whoop data. Heart rate variability, that's what HRV means. Activity progression plan, see that? Nutrition and hydration guidelines, stress management integration, so on and so forth. I mean, there's quite a bit going on. And then, of course, it offered me some wellness affirmations. Thank you very much. Now, you see how robust this is very robust, right? And I think a lot of the value comes from being able to ask certain questions. So, what I have done here, and this also will be available to you in GitHub. I will put the link in the comments of this video. But these, bam, are the types of questions, the examples of questions that I like to use and ask. So, how do I deal with hemorrhoids or constipation after birth? Let's do that one. I can ask these sort of questions and not really feel embarrassed. So, here we go. And it's saying immediate comfort strategies. It talks about the hemorrhoids. If you have hemorrhoids, for constipation, dietary support, and it lets me know when I need to connect with my healthcare provider. I love that. And the reason why it's doing that, the reason why it towards the end it tells me when to contact my healthcare provider is because in this project it was instructed to do that. So there you go. And then of course, integration with your wellness plan, looking at the excellent sleep patterns and consistent activity level. You're already doing things to support your digestive health, because actually exercise does help with peristalsis. Just ensure that you're staying well hydrated. Awesome. And again, look at this, the excellent sleep patterns and the consistent activity level. Where is it getting that data from? It's gaining those insights from Whoop data. It's exciting. Like, it's not something generic. Let's do another one. I'm having a difficult time with my baby's diagnosis. How do I cope with this? And of course, here are the responses, and it's giving this sort of response. As you notice, the output looks very similar to the way the output looked in the actual wellness plan. And that's because we asked for the output to be situated in this way. It talks about allowing yourself to feel in response to my question, grounding strategies, professional support. Let's see if it mentions anything about my biometric data. Let's see. You don't have to navigate this alone. It's okay. While you adjust with this new information. I love that it also has immediate crisis support. Now, this is not a hallucination. This is what was included in the instructions. So here we go. Now, I do not see it referring to biometric data. Here we go. Physical wellness. I see it now. Consider how stress might be affecting your recovery metrics. Yep. So that is definitely something there. And with this information, I can continue the conversation if I would like to. Let's do another one that is deeply, deeply personal. All right, let's ask this question about intimacy after birth. This project is like, what? You are bouncing around all over the place. But you get the idea. You can continue to have conversations in here, and those conversations will offer context or offer contextual updates to that plan that's referenced here. Physical recovery timeline. First and foremost, look, first thing it said, medical clearance. Got to have medical clearance first, y'all. Got to have medical clearance first. And it's a great thing to know that you need to have medical clearance. It gives me an estimation of that timeline. If you had a C-section, like I have, there you go. It may take 3 to 4 months for core strength and incision sensitivity to improve. That is definitely true. I love that this response is including WHOOP data. Looking at your recovery patterns, your body is still in active healing mode with that 53% average recovery score. Physical intimacy requires energy and blood flow. Yellow zone days might mean your body is prioritizing other healing processes. See that? Incorporating that biometric data in the output. Extremely exciting. And it goes into influencing and whatnot. And any of these areas, I can continue to ask questions. And then it also continues the conversation down here by asking me certain questions like, how's your energy level day to day? And one of the reasons I love this, as a person that loves Whoop, yes, our recovery score can say something. Yes, our sleep score can say something, but we still have our own subjective experience, our subjective context. We still feel, right? So for it to ask these questions is awesome because not only is it taking our objective biometric data into consideration, but it's ready and willing to take some of our subjective experience into account. How do you feel about your body right now? And it will totally have a conversation with us. I feel like my body is exhausted, but to be honest, I typically feel exhausted when I am stressed. There you go. This is beautiful. And now it's going on to talk about what my body's managing right now. And then it's also saying your Whoop data is telling this story. You're 53%. See, it keeps going back to that biometrics, to those biometrics. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. Your heart rate variability, which heart rate variability has come out to be one of the greatest indicators of recovery. Athletes use heart rate variability for recovery, incorporate heart rate variability in their training. And heart rate variability is huge in all sorts of recovery, not just athletics, but also when it comes to recovering from anything from pregnancy as well. And then, of course, it tells us immediate nervous system support, explains deep breathing. I can go on and ask it questions about doing deep breathing, but um, we're not going to do that right now. So, anyway, that is it. So, with just a few prompts, we have successfully created and tested a Lauren's Prego. Yours can be called whatever your name is and whatever you want to name it as well. You've taken your Whoop or whatever biometric data you have. I chose to use Whoop. You were able to put it into the file section. You were able to nab the instructions. Again, I'm going to have the instructions in the form of a mega prompt available to you on GitHub. You were able to nab those instructions, put that in there, and you were able to chat. When you chat, you were actually able to get it to export. All right. So you were able to put your files in here. You were able to instruct the project on how it's going to use those files, what type of output you want, how you want the output structured, all of that, right? You were able to add the files that it will be referencing or add files as context. You were able to get to the point where you came down here and you could ask it to generate your plan. And that plan is not a generic plan. That plan is completely tailored to you and leverages your own unique biometric data, your own biometric experience, right? You were able to see it analyze your data. And you were able to query your data, query your plan, and update your plan. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something. I hope that you were able to see and experience what it is like to have that agency, that power, that ability to create your own customized pregnancy recovery plan based off of biometric data. Folks have their own questions, so ask it your questions. If you have updated the instructions, say you made some tweaks and changes to the mega prompt, let me know what those tweaks and changes were. I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, if you liked this, please, please, please hit subscribe, like, share this with someone else who might find this helpful. If you have questions, ask them in the comments below. And so thank you so much for spending some time with me. I appreciate it. Catch you on the other side. Thank you.